Sup? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me we have some more RPG horror stories. I hope you're having yourself a wonderful day. The year is ending up. 2023 is almost over, and you know what? Thank God, or whatever I'm supposed to be worshiping. Thank Lucifer, right? Is that what I'm supposed to do? I don't know, man. I'm so glad that I started this channel this year. This has been a huge highlight for me for this year, but oh my God, with all the hospital visits and my mom not doing so well with health-wise and stuff, it's just been stress, man. I mentioned before that I'm from Russia, and if you've seen the news nowadays, you know that kind of stuff is going on in Russia, so that's also been stressful. A lot of my family has basically been displaced to try to get away from the country, so yeah, it's been stressful just thinking about it. But you know what? The year is almost over, hoping 2024 is going to be better. But before we get to that, let's get to some RPG horror stories for today. DM had my back against bigoted player. Essay warning. So this is a rough story for me to tell. I wish I could put multiple warnings, but I guess bigotry is the best, though it does also have an essay warning with it. I'll just start. Also, it's a long and I promise has a happy ending. Well, for the DM and I. To start, I should explain I had initially used D&D and TTRPGs as a way of exploring my gender openly-ish, before coming out as a transgender woman. I'm also lesbian, which is important to the story. Most of the time, there was no issue. This takes place after I had came out and was living as a woman. And in fact, as far as I know, no one in my group knew I was a trans woman. They just knew me as a woman. The group consisted of the typical warrior, mage, ranger, druid, and my character, a female halfling bard. All the others were male. Session 0 was very open about my character being a lesbian and about avoiding any type of essay style things, like BBEG or the baddies had essayed villagers, and requested not to have obviously abused children involved, mainly because of the very traumatic childhood which I was essayed and abused throughout multiple parts of life. This was accepted by the DM willingly, and the other players just kind of grumbled about it, but they accepted it. My character was obviously the most charismatic and had the highest perception. She was a bard who mostly specialized at spying while performing. So when we needed a little extra help with buying things or renting rooms, my character would flirt with the barmaid or shopkeeper's adult daughter to get discounts. This started to upset some of the others who would try and charm or intimidate, usually had bad rolls and failed. We got about 4 sessions in and had made camp in the middle of the forest when the warrior character started trying to flirt with mine. Also, I realize it says warrior. I'm assuming the player means maybe fighter. I instantly shut it down, and instead of stopping, he kept going, even asking the DM if he could roll to charm me. When the DM refused to allow the roll, he said his character grabbed mine and forced a kiss on me. Ugh. This made me stand up and leave the table, mostly to calm myself down. That player then said, "What's wrong? Thought your character was a bard. Aren't they always little sluts?" Jesus Christ. You're a bard. You're not a prostitute. And last time I checked, I'm pretty sure bards don't have a college of sluttery and whoring as a subclass. So no, bards aren't sluts. They're just charismatic, because that's the casting modifier. This made me freeze because not only had I never told them my dead name, I never even told them anything about being transgender. He continued talking, saying, "That's right, everyone, didn't you know dead name here is a little T-slur? Bet the character is a T-slur too." This caused the other 3 players to chime in with transphobic comments, and they keep speaking over to the DM, continuing the game, and talking about how they stripped my character and all took turns with her, all the while I'm stuck frozen in pure panic mode. The DM finally was able to get his voice over them to be heard and shut the session down. Well, good on the DM to shut the session down, but yikes, dude, yikes. How'd you end up finding the one group where people are just like that disrespectful? You got some really bad odds with that. I am so sorry. When I got home, DM had messaged me on Discord, apologizing up and down for what happened and saying he was going to kick them out and report them to the game shops near us, to everyone he knew what kind of people they were. A few days later, a message appeared from the DM asking one simple question: "Do you want revenge?" Of course, my interests were piqued as he laid out a long plan and told the others I had agreed to one final session, just to end the campaign as long as they keep themselves in check. The session started at a game shop in which the owner knew what was going to happen and knew they might have to step in. With our party waking up the next day, we had been robbed of everything except our clothes and a few gold coins my character always kept hidden in her shoe. Only thing there was a note from the Thieves Guild stating they took everything. We made our way to the closest city and I offered to buy the others drinks while I went in search for the guild. They gladly accepted, and when the DM asked them for con roll, they all failed. They assumed it was just that they got slightly drunk. I'm assuming the DM is basically trying to set up to make the characters kind of go through like some sort of a painful moment or something, but revenge is not even worth it in these sort of situations most of the times, right? I get it's a story and everything, but I feel like you're better off not spending time on plotting some sort of revenge. You're better off just doing something better with your time. Finding a different group, putting together a different group, or I don't know, binging Netflix or anime, or playing a new video game and stuff that you wanted to play, or going through your backlog of games. I know I have a decent backlog of games that I haven't touched at all. Your time is probably better spent off, you know, not on revenge, but it is an RPG horror story and we're reading this for entertainment value, so let's see how this plays out. I'm interested. I returned to the bar telling them I had found the guild, and if it went down now, we could get the jump on them. We all rushed to an old crypt. When we got in, we were met with 8 guild members and 2 generals. I stood behind them all and all they heard was, "These are the ones, kill them all." The mage and druid both tried their spells only to learn that in the drinks they drank there was a poison that stripped them of their magic. The warrior and ranger both had drank poison to strip away their strength, and all of them had been taking poison damage the whole time. They were informed of this after the fight started. I delayed my turn until after they all went, and when my turn started, I walked to a small hole in the wall, pulling out my gear and weapons before looking back to the warrior and stabbing him with a poison-coated dagger. It was a quick fight, leaving all 3 of them dead and all of the guild members injured. After the fight, they all started throwing a tantrum, which quickly got them escorted and banned from the game shop. The DM and I had found a new group later on, and with the permission, he turned my PC into an NPC leader of the Thieves Guild, which steals mostly to help a local orphanage, make sure the kids can have a better life. Edit, since multiple people have asked, the guys have found my dead name out because he was friends with a former co-worker I had before I came out. The co-worker and I never got along because he was one of those extreme Christians who would just tell random strangers they were going to hell for random stuff. Most RPG horror stories are meant to entertain. Was I entertained by this story? Hell yeah, it was very entertaining. But I will say one thing, kind of hope the story is not real, because trying to imagine that you and the DM spend any time with these terrible, awful people just to plot some sort of a perfectly worked out plan that got them kicked out of the store and everything just to get some sort of revenge is just, your time is spent better off doing something else. So I mean, it just, the story kind of reads a little bit like things went a little bit too perfect and stuff sounds like it's too good to be true. I mean, if these people are real, screw them. If they're not real, then whatever. Your time is spent better not plotting a revenge and just spending your time doing something enjoyable. I'm assuming this story is true. Why even spend any iota of time pulling a revenge on some sort of douchebags that generally don't matter? They're scum of the earth. They don't matter. They should be irrelevant to you. I mean, am I entertained? Yeah. Do I think it's real? Not really, but it could be real. I don't know. I'm not really like a forensic scientist or anything like that. I don't care if the story is real or not. It's your time. Live your life to the fullest. Don't spend time trying to get back at crappy people. Crap people are going to exist all over the world. Trying to get back to them is just, I don't know. To me, it's a waste of time. I mean, you could disagree with me as well. I don't know if this story is true or not, but I guess my lesson is don't spend time with crap people. Kick them out of your life and move on to something good for yourself. That's what matters at the end of the day. Anyway, let's get to the next story. The Power Fisher. Problematic power gamer fishes throughout the entire session. Hello again. It's a rather short and not much of a horror story about my encounter with a problematic power gamer. This story took place a few years ago, with me playing at my friend's home. The party is irrelevant, myself included. Only important character are the DM and the Power Fisher. Can't even say too much about Power Fisher, because this was the first and the last time I had a contact with him. I didn't even know if he even played a TTRPG at all before that. However, he seemed like a decent guy who brought snacks, though he immediately came up with a bit of a power gamer during our character creation, when he kept bragging about how strong his build will be and sometimes trying to suggest more optimal mechanics we could pick, even after we told him that we want to make our own choices. Just for the book, he wasn't helpful. We played Magus. I can already hear the Hungarian harumph and screams of pain. With our DM trying to shake up our usual I kick the boss in the nuts and take his gold player behavior, make things a bit more serious and deadly. He introduced a bunch of new homebrew mechanics, including a detailed survival system where we had to track our resources while we were in the wild, gather herbs for medicine, purify our own drinking water, hunt for food, etc. To encourage us to use this new mechanics more often, he made a bunch of homebrewed dishes which gave us different minor buffs and resistances depending on the ingredients we used. I love this system. I'm actually implementing something like that as well. Like if the party wants to, I don't know, catch game and they don't have any rations to eat, they could just cook the meat at the fire to make some, something decent. And if they do that, maybe they get like 1 temporary health or 1 max HP, but the better the food, the better the stuff they make will give them more rewards. I think it's kind of nice, like a temporary little buff for yourself. Plus 1 damage to the next attack or something, stuff like that. I think that stuff is really cool, like being able to provide and be able to make your own things and stuff like that and give some sort of benefit to the effort put in. Though you gotta make sure you're not overloaded or overdo it, because there is a balance between survival mechanics where it becomes fun and tedious. You want to lean it towards fun and less towards tedious, or at least make sure there's a balance between them. Important part of the story that the system also included a funny fishing minigame as well, where we could have multiple rolls on what kind of horrible abominations did we catch, which was the size of the thing, etc. We'll put up a joke option on the RNG table where we had a 10% chance to catch an item. Brought us to a different table with a D100 roll with 99% chance of the item being just regular garbage, like discarded shoes, cans, etc. But there was a 1% chance to get random magic item as a result. Then included another less detailed table with a bunch of low-level magic items with minuscule buffs. I think about stuff like Club +1 and a +2 chance to Ring of Invisibility, haha, funny Lord of the Rings reference, and 1% chance again to ask any magic item from the book, as long as the DM approved it. I think many of you can see now where this is going. Is this gonna pull like a Minecraft fishing to get like a super powerful magical item thing? Because that sounds kind of funny actually. So jump into session 1. The story of the campaign isn't really important here. We go together, had our party meet up, and receive a job to get rid of a gang in the starting city, what corrupted the local law enforcement. Then the DM asked all of us how we would like to engage the situation, and everyone had something on how we should start, including the Power Fisher. So he told the DM that he grabs his stuff, walks outside of the city gates, and starts fishing in a nearby lake. Okay, that happened. So the rest of the party went out to deal with the gang problem, threatening possible shady figures for information, persuading intimidated merchants to help us to get rid of them, counter-bribing the bribed guards, etc. All while the Power Fisher just sits on his fat arse next to a lake in complete silence. This is a problem where the party's being split. I understand the Power Fisher just wants to fish for some crazy magical items, and I guess part of the RNG is he will eventually get something, but you're kind of splitting the party. I understand what he's trying to do, and I think it's kind of funny, haha, but if the rest of the party is going somewhere, you should join your party and then do fishing in the downtime. Yeah, do fishing during downtime. I think that'd be way more beneficial. I think the DM should have ruled that you can fish during downtime, but not if you're on a quest with the party. Then you gotta actually do stuff, Fish back at camp for like a few rolls a night, but that's about it. I don't know. Some sort of a set rule should have been set up like that, to kind of encourage the guy to follow the party instead of just fishing for the magical items. Because he's got to get them eventually. We then finally found some clues about the gang's secret hideout. Power Fisher catches an above average size carp. We then try to make up plans between the PCs of what should we do with the hideout. Power Fisher catches a small perch. We agree on attacking through the sewers. Power Fisher rolls under 10%, gets excited, rolls again, a shoe. We gather around the sewer entrance. Power Fisher gets annoyed after he caught an average-sized brown bullhead. At this point, the DM started to ask him that maybe he should go back to the city and catch up with the party, to which he answered, nah, just want to keep fishing. We also try to ask him to come back out of character, but we get the same answer. The guy's kind of understanding what he wants to do, but as a DM, splitting the party is not going to be fun. You really should say, okay, you stop fishing and you need to join the party, or you need to choose something else. I'm not just having you play Fishing Simulator. If you want to play Fishing Simulator, buy a video game. Are there any fishing games out there? Man, I know there's some weird old sports games and stuff, but that's about it. Most of the fishing that I know are in minigames, like in an MMO or something, or some other video game. Man, now I want to do fishing minigame. I want to play fishing minigame now. It continued for a half an hour. At some point, the DM had one of the non-corrupt city guards turn up and tell one of our characters that he saw our friend fishing outside the city gates, and we really need every muscle on his job. We got the point, so the party went out and asked him if he wanted to tag along to our ride against the bandits. Thanks, but I'm good. want to fish in peace. So we let him fish in peace. After that, we had a tough encounter with the gang. While we managed to beat and found a plot hook about some BBEG living in some faraway desolate mountains, the session was concluded after the party started preparation for our journey to the wilderness. We all talked freely that only 4 of us will go to the journey. Powerfisher was the 5th player, because our characters didn't really saw the point of bringing along a guy that barely knew and who left them off to fight with a huge gang so you could go on fishing. Strange part, he didn't even complain about it, not even out of character after we told him that it will happen. After the session ended, we told our bit to the DM, thanked for the game, and went home. A few days later, we get a notice from the DM. Powerfisher was kicked. None of us shed a tear. If the guy does not want to be with a party, then yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing to do. If he just wants to fish, let him fish in peace, by himself, in a game or something, or I don't know, his own D&D game, his own solo D&D game where he is the DM and the fisherman, the power fisher. So what was the exact reason for the constant fishing? As later DM told me, there was some argument between him and Powerfisher before session 0. When he wanted to get a rare magic item, what he could technically afford with his starting wealth if he was allowed to sell some of his starting gear and claimed it would be crucial for his optimal build, but was told no several times, because the DM didn't want to give each party member starting magical items. Then Powerfisher tried to argue the DM should only give a magic item to him, what the DM immediately shut down without any question. No favorites. Wow, wants to try to score a magic item as well, just for him to be a very special, extra special boy in the game. Aha, I see how it is. Interesting. Powerfisher was salty and kept complaining, but eventually accepted it. And then he probably discovered the any magic item part of the fishing table, and the rest is history. So the guy literally couldn't continue the game because he couldn't get his one specific magic item to optimize his build, and then decided he would just fish forever until he got that specific item. Oh, don't marry your character builds to a specific magic item for an optimized build, okay? Like, you can easily start the game planning or plotting for an optimized build and then working through the campaign, basically ask the DM, hey, maybe I can't get the item now, but is there a chance I could get it in the future? Because that'd be really cool. I would love to look forward to it. I'm pretty sure the DM would be like, yeah, there's a possibility you could get it for sure. I'll try to figure out a good time that you can potentially obtain the item, maybe even buy it as well. If it's an item you can just buy from magic stores and stuff, then just do that. Do a few jobs, save a little bit of penny, and then get the magic item from a shop or something, man. You don't have to fish the whole time, just play the game. D&D is not about playing optimally every single time. It's fine to have a build that's not 100% optimal. You eventually can optimize it or change it or however you want to. Just play the game, man. Why you gotta fish the whole time? After session 1, DM had a talk with him about it and asked him to stop. Powerfisher said that he won't stop until he gets his magic item. He had a real chance to do that. Someone more versed in math than me could calculate the possibilities for me. I'm too lazy or dumb for that. DM told him that he could put as a possible reward later in the campaign, but Powerfisher refused it in a kind of asshole-ish way. What made the DM immediately kick him right in the spot? DM was so annoyed by this that he wanted to remove the random magic item option from the RNG table, but we told him that he would want to keep it, so it remained. Unfortunately, we never managed to catch anything from it. Without Powerfisher, the campaign went along just fine after it died out of somewhere in the middle of Act 2. The end. P.S. I still have the list of what was caught during the session, so I'll just leave it here. 2 brown bullheads, 1 small, 1 average, 3 common carp, 1 above average, 2 small, 5 perch, 1 small, 3 below average, 1 average, 1 frog edible, 1 trout average, 2 chubs, both small, 1 chew large left foot. The guy literally got an opportunity. The DM said I could put as a reward or something. Just play with the people, play with the damn game, dude. Play with them, join the party. I'll give you the magic item as a reward if you just play along. And the guy was just, nope. I'm not compromising. I'm not doing anything until I get the magic item because I need it for my ultimate awesome optimal build and everything. I get it. Optimal builds, people want to go for that. I completely get it. But to make it or break it because you don't start with a magic item that you desperately want, it's stupid. It's really dumb. It's silly. Just just play along with the party and then ask the DM if there's a chance you can get the magic item as a reward, or find it in a shop somewhere, or I don't know, scour an ancient temple catacombs to find the damn item, dude. You don't have to start optimally in order to have fun. The whole point is to play with everybody, play with people at the table, not start off optimally. You can always optimize as you play. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating, but it makes total sense why the DM booted the Power Fisher, because this guy was not going to join for anything. He just wanted to keep fishing until he got the item, and he wouldn't play until he got the item. The guy would just throw in a tantrum. He was just butthurt and upset and angry that he didn't start with a super awesome magic item that he really wanted. And it sucks, dude. It's really unfortunate, because he ruined it for himself. He ruined this whole experience for himself. Nobody to blame but himself. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.